Nikon Black Force 1000 rifle scope. Talk about a mouthful, right? Well, the black line from Nikon is their first entry into the trickle-down weaponomics concept. In the past, Nikon has been fairly resistant to adopting standardization into their reticles, and I'm glad to see that they're finally getting with the program. They've been very siloed in the hunting realm for a long period of time, and now they're starting to listen to people and start to produce some more standardization in their reticles. Now, this Force 1000 is their high-speed acquisition competition scope, if you will. It's built around a 30mm tube, a second focal plane scope, and it includes their Speed Force reticle. Now, the Speed Force reticle, like I said, is built around competition. I am not a competition shooter, and to be frank, I don't really care about a whole lot of the stuff that they put in there, but there are 4 things that I think that this scope does really well with this reticle, and those are: first, the center dot is a 2 MOA dot, allowing for very precise shooting at pinpoint. For instance, a lot of red dots have a 3 MOA dot, so this has a very precise center dot, so you can make very precise shots. Yep. The second feature of the Speed Force reticle that I thought was very interesting and useful is there are 2 horseshoes in the reticle, and the outer one at 100 yards perfectly frames a standard IPSC target or human being. And what that allows you to do is to get a very, very fast pickup of the target, be able to get a round on target very, very quickly without doing a lot of precise aiming. Right like that. Thirdly, even though this scope is designed around use with standard AR-15s, 16-inch barrel shooting 193, it has a very generous ballistic ladder at the bottom so that you can throw this scope on just about any gun that you would want to use it for, that 4 power would be useful for, and you would have enough ballistic drop compensation to do good work with that gun. Number 4, the main body of the reticle is illuminated. The fast acquisition component of the reticle is illuminated. Now, I will say this, it is very bright out here today, and I can barely perceive the red color of the illumination. In my humble opinion, I believe that it's designed more around the low light situation where you need a little bit more contrast between maybe a dark target and the reticle. It's not really designed for daylight brightness, although you can perceive it just ever so slightly. I've had this scope in here for several months. I've taken this down to shoot with Such, to Tactical Response, to Big 3, to the Iraq Veteran 8888 shoot, and around the general use of the range for about the last 9 months, and I have been kicking the crap out of this thing. You will see when we draw you in here close that it is a little bit scuffed up. It has been riding on my work gun for that amount of time. So without further messing around, I'm going to pull you guys in here tight so we can look at some of the intricacies of the scope, and then we can get on to shooting this thing. The turrets are under cap, and I think that's actually a good idea because this is a down and dirty type scope rather than a precision type scope. Adjustments are half MOA, and I have gone ahead and spun the turret just for demonstration purposes, but if I wanted to zero this turret out without adjusting it, I just pull out on it and spin it until that chevron right there is in line with the 0 line. And I'll get a close-up for you guys so you guys can see that. But that allows you to zero them out, so if you have to make an adjustment, you know that you're working from a 0 point. That is the CR2032 battery that powers the illumination on the scope. There is a gasket located here at the base of the threads, so this thing is waterproofed. Spin it on like that. You can't really get it super tight like this. They do include a tool to get it tighter, and I'll show you guys a picture of that. But what's really important, I think, to note on the illumination settings is not only are there 10, but there are 0 stops in between. So what that means is that you don't have to spin the dial all the way back down to 0 when you're done. And this reticle will turn off after 1 hour of inactivity. Generally speaking, in scopes in this class, I usually leave on 4 or 1, and the reason why is usually this zoom ring here is so tight that you need some kind of lever to add to it, and extra things hanging off my scope is not something that I like. I get hung up in my gear a lot. So this scope, by contrast, has a very nice zoom ring on it. You don't need an extra lever. It has plenty of texturing on it so that you can turn it. It's not super hard, but it's not super loose that it's going to come loose on you either during like the firing cycle or recoil or anything like that. You can tell that Nikon did their homework on this one as far as trying to make this scope as compatible with as many types of shooters as possible. The eye relief is really long on it, about 4 inches in my guesstimation. I'm sure that's probably written somewhere, but also the amount of focus adjustment that you have on this thing is really, really wide. So this is literally designed to fit just about any type of shooter who wants a fast acquisition scope. I run my stuff all the way in. I prefer to choke up on my gun anyway. This scope is currently mounted in a Midwest Industries 30mm QD mount, and Nikon offers a mount that's very similar to this mount with their optic. It's just I prefer QD in my optics because I like to pass them around a whole lot of guns when I'm testing them. I had intended to do that, however, this scope spent its entire time testing on this rifle because it complemented it so well. And to that effect, this rifle is an MI15F 16-inch barrel, and it currently wears the Griffin Armament Optimus on the end of it. Again, this scope fit this gun so well that I just couldn't take it off. All right, so what we've got here is I've gone ahead and just gone into the presets in Spot On, just selected Fiocchi's 55 grain full metal jacket bowtail, and we're going to see how accurate this is for today's conditions using the Spot On app on the Black Force 1000. So apply, shoot, and there you guys go. I'll roll in something tight so you guys can see. Yeah, that's actually pretty good representation. So here we go. All right, so we've tested the scope at range with Spot On to determine whether it works properly. Even without putting in super precise data, it's doing a pretty good job. But this is a fast acquisition scope, and I can only think of one way to test fast acquisition on a scope, and that's good old-fashioned VSO running guns coming up next. Uh-oh, what do we have here? The Wombat has returned for running guns. What's going on, buddy?
Oh no, I'm gonna see how much of an idiot I can make out of myself on the interweb.
Yeah, it's been a while since you run and gun, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not really gonna worry about trying to look cool on the interweb.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna shoot.
All right. Well, are you ready?
I guess.
Shooter, understand the course of fire.
We'll see.
Begin. Hit. Miss. Hit. Good. Good. The gong. The gong.
Not tall enough.
I will admit to designing the course. Miss. Miss. Hit. Move on. There it is. Close. Got him. Far.
There it is.
Got him. Got him. Left. Move on. Hit. Got him. Left. All up in your grill. All up in your grill. Don't screw it up.
My grill, bitch.
Move on. Got him. Got him. Left.
Man, it stinks.
Getting a little gas, eh?
Yeah.
Just a little bit? Yeah, look at that thing fuming, man. That thing is
seriously like it was effing up my chi.
Well, what do you think of the Black Force 1000? How did it do for you?
I mean, I thought it was pretty tight.
Yeah.
I just honestly like that running gun went better than I thought it would.
Yeah, I thought it looked fine. You have not been out here to run and gun. You've missed every running gun session for like a year.
Probably.
Yeah. So
one thing I could say is like this handrail, it's comfortable, but it's warm to the touch.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it?
and like with my small fingers.
Oh, you're right over the gas block, bro.
Like I could probably almost get in there.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't cause me any actual discomfort, but one thing I can say is, you know, when you're shooting suppressed, especially on an AR, that gas comes back at you.
Yeah.
Like when I started to shoot quickly over here, I was just breathing it in and it was messing with me.
They do make bolt carrier groups that mitigate that. This does not have one in it. That actually has the drop the bolt. It has that Sharps bolt that we did a full video on, and it's doing fine. It just doesn't mitigate the gas.
Yeah, you can actually almost even see like residue on the optic from that. That was not there before.
I think that is your Dago grease.
Good
sir. All right, guys, that is our look at the Nikon Black Force 1000. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm going to close it out by taking a run myself. Here we go. Load it up with some Fiocchi 55 grain and see if I can beat Wombat's run. Hopefully it shouldn't be that hard. Give me a mark.
Do it. Embarrass yourself.
I'm not tall enough either.
Yeah. You got one. You got two, you're good. This track star nonsense is going on. Nothing, okay.
I didn't have the rifle properly shouldered. And then we said, dump on this guy, right?
Dump it out. There are a couple in there. Woo! Seeing more tree movement than target movement, but that's whatever. You getting gassed? Yeah, it's legit. It made it difficult to finish that dumping off the rounds on the last target.
Griffin
I'm just breathing
Optimus.
it in. I held my breath. Like, what was going on? Yeah.
I had to take a breath and hold it.
Yeah.
Griffin Optimus, maybe a little bit low on the volume. A little bit low on the volume for that rate of fire.
Looks like there's so much America going on here that he's crying from it.
Yeah.
Weeping with joy.
Black Force 1000.